Hello, Stephen Bedard here, and I want to talk to you a bit about COVID-19 and the pandemic and everything else. And you might be absolutely sick of hearing about COVID-19, but I thought I would share a little bit about my experience, my thoughts, where I'm at, and so on. So this is not a formal presentation on COVID-19 and what life should look like or what ministry should look like, but really just to share the thoughts off the top of my head. So I remember when the pandemic hit and we thought that it would only take a couple of weeks of shutting down and we would flatten the curve. And I was willing to do that for a couple of weeks. But it was pretty quick to realize that it was going to take more than that. It was hard, even shutting down our church building for a couple of weeks. To think that it would be closed for 6 months was just completely beyond my imagination. I never thought that anything like that would happen. My children were off for March break, and we thought again that they would have 2 more weeks, which a 3-week March break seemed like way too much, and yet they ended up having a March break that went right to the beginning of September. So I couldn't have imagined what that was going to be like. How has the pandemic been? How has it impacted me? Well, the hardest thing has been our children with autism who live in a group home in another city. And so we went quite a long time without seeing them. That was really hard. I've talked about that in previous vlogs, and so I'm not going to go into detail other than to say that was really tough. But thankfully, we have seen them since. In terms of having our other children at home, we have 3 other children who live here with us, all around the teen, preteen age. In fact, they all had their birthdays within that. Of our 5 children, we have 3 birthdays in April and 1 in May. And so a lot of those changes were happening during that lockdown. And so they were pretty limited in what they were able to do, but we tried to make the best of it. Our kids, like most siblings in that age range, do a bit of fighting. And I was absolutely impressed with how they were. They actually had a conversation where they called a truce. There was an agreement that they could not keep bickering the way they had been before, and so they did very well, and I'm super proud of all of my children. And then there was church, and church, what we ended up doing is going to online services. We did a Facebook Live for the first service with just my wife and I and a couple of other people who were involved in the recording. But we eventually decided to pre-record services where we would just meet, my wife and we would record different parts of it and then send it to our video guy on staff, and he would put it together, and then our music guy would put together the songs, and that would be added in. And you can find all those actually at our church YouTube page. Just go to queenstreetbaptist.org/videos and you can see what some of those videos were like. And we did that for a while, and that was okay. That was not too bad, although it was really strange for me as a pastor to get to Saturday night, and normally I feel kind of, I wouldn't say exactly anxiety or nervousness, but there's a certain emotional tension as I am preparing my mind to preach the next day. But then to realize that the sermon is already written, it's already been preached, it's already been recorded. It just needs to be published on YouTube, and that's it. So that was a little bit weird. It was also weird to not do much visitation in person, to go to just phone calls and emails and Zoom meetings. Oh my goodness, Zoom meetings. I have never thought I would do as many Zoom meetings as I did for church, for my job as a military chaplain, and so many other aspects of my life, to keep zooming and zooming and zooming. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to complain too much because it really came in handy. And I still Zoom. Just today, we had a Zoom Bible study, and that was good. And so we were able to do that. So we do have services that are at our church now in person. We have about half of our congregation that is coming out, and it's great to see them, but we do physically distance. I prefer physical distance to social distance. We wear masks, we don't sing, and things are okay. However, numbers are going back up in terms of number of cases in Ontario where I live, and so we don't know what's going to happen for the future. I think that's been one of the hardest things. And I was telling my congregation about this on the weekend that uh, I have no idea what church is going to look like in 3 months. It could be us back singing together, no masks, congregational singing, or we could be shut down again and doing online only services. I have absolutely no idea. There's no way for me to predict what church is going to look like. And that uncertainty has been very draining. It ended up really that during the summer, in pure hours that I worked, I would say was a little bit less than what I normally did, because a lot of things that I would normally do, a lot of ministries that I would do, just we weren't able to do them. But I got more tired doing a less amount of work than I had been before. It was exhausting. I really talk about a COVID fog. And it wasn't just about church, it was about life at home too. Just every aspect of life just was so draining. I try not to complain. I try to be as positive as possible, but there was a lot of difficulty, and it's not over yet. I have had no problem wearing masks. It does not bother me. I know there are some people who really take it as something against their rights, but to me, yeah, if it will help, even if there's a chance it will help, it is important to do. And as a Christian, I believe it's important to put the needs of others before ourselves. We just have to remember masks don't protect us, they protect the people around us. It protects them from us, not protecting us from them. But if everyone wears a mask, it makes a difference. I don't resent the government either for shutting the churches down. I never felt like we were being persecuted. I never felt like our rights were being taken away. It was what was needed, and restaurants and bars were all shut down as well, casinos and all of that. It wasn't as if the government was targeting the churches. So there was no way that I felt that was persecution. It was a tough place to be for politicians, for government leaders, and they have a difficult time in the best of times, and they've had to deal with a lot of really difficult situations. But anyways, I'm thankful for the way things have gone. I'm thankful for people who have been helping out. I'm thankful for my church that has really dealt with a tremendous amount of change over a short period of time. I'm thankful for my family that's been supportive, especially my wife, who has really helped me a lot as she is on staff with me at the church. And I could not have done all of these services myself. We shared a lot of the responsibility, and she really made a big difference. So I'm so thankful for her. And those are just some of my thoughts about what it's been like living through COVID-19 over the past number of months. What is it going to look like? I have no idea. I could come on and do a vlog in 3 months, and it could have a totally different message. I have no idea. But I'm just going to try to trust in Christ that he will be with us. Not that everything is going to be easy, but that he will be our strength through this. So that's what I have to say about COVID-19. I hope that you're doing well, that your family's doing well, and pray for your leaders, pray for your pastors, pray for your churches, pray for your families. Take care, and God bless.